Hey there YouTube, it's your Bobby3, back with another kicking, you guessed it, comic book review. Today we're looking at another cool graphic novel. It is Spider-Man Reign, which I was able to read for free with my Amazon Prime benefits. It's a Marvel book rated T for teen, collecting Spider-Man Reign 1 through 4, and it's a book that many call underrated. And I think it is to an extent, but I think the people that really campaign for this book overrate it. In fact, it kind of just seems to be like someone maybe wanted to write a Batman story, and they were given the opportunity to write a Spider-Man story instead. In fact, it almost seems like someone wanted to completely rewrite The Dark Knight Returns. And it's a good book, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like... It didn't blow my mind or anything. Like, I read it, and I was like, okay, that was good. And then I was done. It wasn't a big deal. But yeah, it feels like a Batman story. And yes, I noticed there have been Batman stories transplanted to Spider-Man before with Kraven's Last Hunt. But let me just read you the back of the book here. Spider-Man's Darkest Night. Already, Darkest Night right there. The time? The future. The place? A cold, hostile Manhattan that long ago traded freedom for security. Inspired by the brutal soldiers of the Reign. The opposition? Publisher turned rabble-rousing street prophet J. Jonah Jameson, who promises Spider-Man will return to save them all. But the long-vanished hero is a tired old man now. No job, no family, no hope. Can Peter Parker rediscover his once great power and the great responsibility that comes with it? Or is the Spider's mask too heavy a burden to bear in this harsh new reality? Featuring Dr. Octopus, Electro, Kraven, Mysterio, Sandman, Scorpion, and more. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get in this. I wanted to do some more Marvel stuff, and my go-to Marvel stuff is street level, especially Spider-Man, I feel like. So here we are doing Spider-Man Reign. This is the book where Spider-Man infamously kills Mary Jane with his radioactive jism. That's real. She gets like cancer from his semen. Just try not to think about it. Just try not to think about it. One thing I do gotta say, I love the art. There's this very straightforward kind of panel layout with this really beautiful but dark art that has more color than you would expect. And some very interesting character designs, like this really, really scrawny bearded Peter. You know, and we also get this kind of interjection from like news and TV footage, which was also in The Dark Knight Returns. That's just ripped straight from The Dark Knight Returns. And I'm not saying this is ripping off The Dark Knight Returns, but a lot of it is straight out of there. A lot of the way that the images use lightning. There's like 2 or 3 moments in this book where it's just straight up that famous lightning swinging panel from The Dark Knight Returns. Just straight up. You know? Like when Peter finally puts the mask back on, and it's the black suit mask, but not the Venom symbiote, just the black suit. And he like swings out of the hospital or whatever with his cast on in his underpants. It kind of invokes images of Batman. It's not 100% Dark Knight Returning in that moment. That is more of an inspired moment, you know? And I do see that there's a lot of lightning in this book, and I think that's sort of as a visual representation of tension being let loose, which is good. I think it works well. Like, it does objectively work well. But we do see more images where it is very much like that. There's also kind of a mirroring of Elektra's killing in this, in a very weird scene. We get the return of the Sinister Six. They like unmask Spider-Man and stuff. And then there's this shot. It's raining, and instead of lightning, it's the moon. And it's very Dark Knight Returning. It's this whole page with Doc Ock and Spider-Man. And it's kind of a weird reversal of the cover art of Spider-Man's first appearance, while also clearly being inspired directly and maybe too much by The Dark Knight Returns. But I do like the idea of, like, and this is kind of spoilery, Doc Ock dying and his tentacles still going on. That's a really cool idea. Like, just really objectively awesome. Anyhow, Peter kind of hallucinates his wife because he feels guilty for filling her with his radioactive cum. Once again, which is a real thing that causes the trauma that a lot of this book hinges on. And we also get, like, this Venom symbiote, and this version of Venom wants to be, like, someone who takes over the whole city, like, literally suffocating the city underneath his goo in this very, very not subtle fascism imagery. Which is fine. You know, it doesn't have to be subtle. It's fine. I gotta say, it kind of came out of nowhere, seemingly, but the stuff with Sandman's daughter, I actually thought was really, really cool. The stuff with Sandman and his daughter I thought was really good, and it was my favorite part of this comic. You just gotta read it. And then Spider-Man, like, brutalizes the Sinister Six and everything, of course, you know. You know how it be. But, yeah, going back and looking at this book after reading it, it's good. It is. It clearly draws almost 100% of its inspiration from Batman. And the setting isn't very unique. But it ends on this note that things are kind of getting back to maybe the way they should be, with a balance between security and freedom, and Spider-Man's still out there kind of traveling around and helping people, which is good. I think it ended on a good note. It could have ended on a really depressing note, but it ends on an okay note. But the thing is, like, I'm sure it was intended to be a more hopeful note, but it's not anything better than the world has had. It's just kind of a return to the status quo. It's just a return to the status quo. Like, things are back to the way they used to be, which wasn't really good enough. So, okay. Also, when I said he first swung down in his Spider-Man mask and stuff, and it looked very Dark Knight Returns-y, there's actually an issue 1 cover second printing, which just is that page, but he's, like, fully silhouetted, so it looks even more like The Dark Knight Returns. Just wanted to point that out specifically. It's in the cover gallery in the back. There is a Spider-Man Reign 2. I really don't have a lot of interest in it, to be completely honest with you. Maybe if it's dirt cheap or something, or I can read it for free with Prime, which it doesn't look like I can. So that's that. But yeah, it was written by Carrie Andrews. Pretty cool. It's just, like, it's good. But if you've read The Dark Knight Returns, you've read a better version of this book. Just 100%. If you've read The Dark Knight Returns, you've read a far superior version of this same comic. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.